Hey, you're watching TechCrunch TV. I'm Colleen Taylor.
I'm Jordan Crook.
And we're in Detroit.
Yeah,
Michigan.
we are.
It's nice, right?
Right? Home
what are you
of Ford.
drinking?
It's a beer. It's called Shorts Brew.
Me too.
It's from Michigan, I think.
We're both liking this beer. We were just like, oh, we should be drinking beer because we're at our meetup and it's a drinking event. And this is actually like a local beer from, where's it from? Elk Rapids, Michigan, and we're liking it. So Shorts Brew.
It's an IPA for those who are interested. But let's get down to brass tacks here, Colleen Taylor. What was your favorite part of this meetup in particular?
This meetup has been, I think it's been a very diverse meetup in terms of people coming from all over, which has been amazing. Because the Midwest, you know, I'm in San Francisco, I'm in California, and so California itself is such a large state that, you know, if someone comes from Portland or Seattle, that's a thing. But then mostly it's just the San Francisco Bay Area and then also Southern California and stuff. But here we've got people from Ohio, we've got people from Canada, we've got people from Indiana, we've got, you know, it's and also from Michigan, from Detroit, as well as other parts of Michigan. So people just made the drive, they came here, and so many amazing entrepreneurs and companies and a lot of excitement. How about you? What's your impression?
Well, you know, Detroit, I think, is really interesting because we've been walking around here, and I never want to be offensive to anyone, but Detroit is in a bit of a slump, clearly. You know what I'm saying?
Newsflash.
Newsflash.
No, everyone knows, yeah.
Right? And, you know, we walk around and we see a lot of vacant buildings, and there's no one really walking on the streets, and it is a little bit depressing, but you meet these founders, and you meet these VCs, and they are so passionate, and they are so determined, and I've heard from a lot of people that that's what Michigan and Detroit is all about. It's about, like, not just having a dream or having a task, but completing it and achieving your goal. And I have complete faith that this is going to be a huge tech hub very soon. And I'm really glad that we got in on the ground level and we're like here early and kind of helping spark the revolution or whatever the hell it might be. But I really like just the passion that I'm seeing out of people here.
I very much agree with that. And people talk about this Midwest work ethic and stuff, and it sounds like a cliche, but it's true. Just getting down to brass tacks and making things happen and nose to the grindstone type of thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And we've had a lot of people, so today we wrote this, so you had some office hours, right?
Yeah, we actually went out to Ann Arbor, right? So we're in Detroit right now, about 40 minutes from here is Ann Arbor, and there are a few different universities kind of clustered around that city, and it's a huge difference. It's kind of night and day over there. There's a lot of cute little suburbs and nice houses, universities, but the kids there are really excited too, and I know that for a fact that a lot of talent comes out of these universities, a lot. And they tend to leave Michigan, which is what's upsetting, I think, to a lot of the industries here. But from the people that I spoke to today, I think that they're very, very much invested not only in their own endeavors, but they're invested in the economy here, and they're invested in bringing Michigan to kind of the powerhouse that it once was, especially Detroit. I mean, it was the 4th largest city in the world or in the U.S. at some point. So I think they're all very invested in that, and it's great to see that they're ready and willing to stay here. And there's a lot of benefits to that too, right? Because there's low capital in terms of getting a building and getting your mentorship and just any costs associated with starting a company are actually quite low here.
Right.
So it works out to their favor.
Yeah, that's the low cost thing, and I think that's why so many people see. And I was talking to one venture capitalist here, and I used the word, there's so much potential, and he said, I'm so sick of hearing that word potential, because people see that as being sort of a dig in a way. And I said, but that's great, because that's what investments are looking for, right? You want to buy low, sell high. That's the entire idea of investment. Right. But I think they're maybe tired of hearing that. They're trying to get past that potential stage. They're clearly still there, but I think maybe we're getting a little bit on the cusp of moving past that potential stage. Right. I think personally, I want to hear what you think about this, but I think it's going to take, a little bit more of a tipping point past. We've got Dan Gilmore, who's amazing, and everything that the Quicken Loans whole community has done here. Right. And I think it's going to take a little bit more of investment from other big fish
right.
here to really make downtown Detroit happen. But it seems to me, just tonight, I'm learning that Ford, and it sounds like I'm a sap for this because I know, we've talked a lot to Ford lately, but Ford is really making some investments there. I think we need really someone, maybe Bill Ford Jr., to really step up and also make the kind of big bets that Dan Gilmore is making here in downtown Detroit. It sounds like he's getting ready to do that, and he's doing that a bit more.
Absolutely.
I think we need a little bit more than just the Quicken Loans
absolutely
mafia here,
right.
which is amazing.
I think the way that the tech and automotives are kind of colliding right now anyway presents a really awesome opportunity for Detroit, right? So not just Ford, but Chrysler and some other companies that are in the area have a really huge opportunity to start investing in these companies and seeing what they can bring back to the automotive industry as a whole, right?
Yeah.
Because that's kind of in the dump too right now. And I think more importantly, I was talking to Angel Gambino, who's kind of a big name here. We had dinner with her the other night.
Yep.
And she brought up something really interesting. What she said was that we're trying to continue the narrative, right? So Detroit has always been focused on music. Music has been
Motown.
big, automotive, and manufacturing.
Yep.
And she's saying any startups that can kind of focus in on that, right? So 3D printing is huge. Music is always and forever will be huge for the consumer-facing startup. And automotive, we're not going to stop driving cars anytime soon, right?
Right.
So these are all really sustainable, easy industries to kind of poke into. And the problems in Detroit, just Detroit, if we cancel out the rest of the country, Detroit has enough problems to solve on its own. And so if people really put their heads together and say, okay, well, we're going to focus on maybe the literacy rate here, or the fact that a third of the buildings are vacant, or any number of issues that we have going on here, then I think that we're going to see some really amazing change that not only affects Detroit, but kind of spreads out and starts affecting the rest of us.
And I think anybody who has been surprised by, maybe people on staff at TechCrunch or whoever has been surprised by what they've seen in Detroit would be surprised by what they see in a lot of other American cities. And so this is the Rust Belt. This is where we are, and the interior of these cities is so beautiful, and there's so much potential, and there's infrastructure, and there are large, gorgeous, architecturally significant buildings that are empty.
Yeah,
and
it's heartbreaking, honestly.
It is, and but I see it's shifting, and there are young people who are not afraid of the urban center, and they want to move back in. And
the artists are coming. The artists are coming, right? Because low cost, it's easy for them to live here and still, be devoted to their passion, and that's the beginning of a story right there. Is when the artists come, the rest will come. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
and I would second that, because I want to segue into the final maybe point here.
Okay.
But I want to hear from you, what is the startup or company that you've been most excited about that you've talked to here? And
right.
I have one teed up, but so you say the artists come, and I also think the immigrants come, and,
right.
and that's huge.
Absolutely.
And today I talked to a company called, oh goodness, it's Walleta or something. I'm going to write a post about this. Walletly or something, but it's this guy from Northern Africa, and he's making this app that people can do. He basically wants to be sort of the Jack Dorsey Square thing of Northern Africa.
Cool.
And I'm excited to write about this for TechCrunch, because he's building this for Northern Africa, but he's come here to really learn the tricks of the trade, and to learn about American entrepreneurship, because there's not so much of a culture in Northern Africa
right.
and these Muslim countries to really become a
founder.
Right, exactly. So I think there are a lot of, I think a big thing about Detroit especially is the big immigrant community that its universities especially attract, and the entrepreneurship community here attracts. So we see a lot of people coming home to roost in Detroit, people who grew up in Detroit and then went to New York or San Francisco or Los Angeles, and then come back. But then I think they're attracting very, very smart people from around the world. So I'm excited about that.
I'd have to say my favorite startup so far is actually consumer facing, which I think is really important for Detroit right now. There's so much focused on the enterprise. Let's hit some consumers. It's an app called Photo Social, and essentially what it is it's a replacement for your iPhone's photo gallery, which sounds semi-redundant, right?
Yes.
But if you think about your iPhone's photo gallery, since you first owned an iPhone, it's essentially been exactly the same for what, 2007, 5 years?
Yep.
Which is unacceptable. It's actually, you never really think about it until you see what a photo gallery should look like. And this is exactly what it should look like. I mean, it's just the simplicity in sharing, the ability to kind of choose multiple photos. I mean, I can't tell you how many times that I wanted to send photos to someone, and I wish I could group them together and put them in one email or put them in one message. You can't. You cannot do that on the iPhone, which is stupid. This app fixes that, obviously, and does it with a beautiful UI, and I see a really awesome exit for this guy, whether it's from Apple or an Android OEM or just a FedEx, a print shop, or whatever it might be. But I see some really awesome opportunities for him, and I think it's really interesting to just sit back instead of trying to tackle something super complicated. Say, well, my phone is the way it is. What do I wish was better? And just kind of looking at the obvious, and I applaud that. So that's kind of my favorite thing coming out of this right now.
Photo social.
Yeah.
Look for it.
Look for it, for sure.
Cool. Well, from Detroit, I'm Colleen.
I'm Jordan.
And if you have any ideas of other cities we should go to where these TechCrunch meetups are just getting started, so email us, tips@TechCrunch, let us know where we should come next.
Absolutely.
But thanks, Detroit. It's been amazing.